sunrises in every morning. Yeah. So thank you for joining me. I'm gonna just jump in, get started. Basically because most of my viewers for my lives, they view the video after I've completed it, and so I don't want to take up too much time just waiting for people to come in. I'll update them as they come in. But if you've seen me post, I am doing a month-long series called Let Me Bend Your Ear. And I was just called to do this. It's a spiritual series that I was just called to do. The topics range. It's a spiritual buffet, and I'll be doing it every morning, all month, November 1st through November 30th. But I'll introduce myself. I have some notes here. I'm Ty, also known as the Mindset Shift Maven. Again, this is this series. I don't even know what it will become. I just know that I was called to do it, and so I answered the call to do this. I don't know what it will become. I was told to share my spiritual experiences daily for a month, from November 1st to November 30th. This is what I was called to do. And so randomly came up with the name. I don't know hey Jen, good morning. I don't know I do know the purpose behind it, but I don't know what it will become. And so when I was just thinking about it, when I said yes to it, to share my spiritual experiences with you all, many of them that I haven't shared with very many people. I said I want the idea to be that it's like having a conversation with a friend, like bending a friend's ear. And so that's why I've decided to name the series Let Me Bend Your Ear. And so before we get into the simple message that I have just for today, I want to set the tone. Some of you all can hear the music. I've been told that you can hear the music. Earlier, I also said that you can hear the train too. I set my desk up by this particular window because it has a beautiful view of Lake Michigan. And so I hope you all can hear the music. I have music playing that's at 432 hertz. So I typically listen to that kind of music throughout the day, different frequencies, just because that's the music that I'm most aligned to. This music that you're listening to at 432 hertz is it's a music for healing. If someone earlier said it's very tranquil. And so if you do believe, like I believe, that music has healing power, that's the music that I have setting the tone for us right now. I also have my tea. There's a train. I have my ginger tea. I love ginger tea. I make it straight from the ginger root. I cut up the ginger root, throw it in a boiling pot of water, and let it boil for about 20 minutes. And then I add blue agave. I don't typically use honey because the store-bought honey is mainly sugar. Okay. The 8-figure unicorn. That's right. Okay, we get our immune systems together. Okay. So I've got my tea here. I've got the music going. I've got some incense burning. I've got, so in my spiritual practice, I use whatever I can to just heighten my senses. Because when I feel like my senses are heightened, I'm more connected to This will be a topic another day. I'm more connected to God, source, spirit, higher self, whatever you want to call the highest connection that you have. So I also have crystals here, and I'll go over a couple of the crystals that I have. So I use crystals in the same way that a Christian may wear a cross around their neck as a reminder. For some people, they wear a cross around their neck as a reminder of the sacrifice that Jesus made. Some of them wear a reminder of God's love for them. Some of them wear it for fashion. I don't know. But I use crystals in the same way that someone would wear a cross. And if you think about what a cross is, that a cross made of wood is made from earth in the same way that crystals come from the earth. A cross is made from 2 planks of wood. We know where wood comes from. It comes from trees. Crystals typically come from caves. And so they both come from earth. The crystals that I'm working with today, that I have cleansed and kind of given some intent that I hope just comes through to you all. So yes, what's this? IMPH. This is clear quartz. This is a clear quartz crystal. This crystal is known as like the master healer. And so this crystal, yes, Yolanda, I love my crystals too, girl. You know I've been working with these crystals. This one is known as the master healer. This crystal is actually known to help with your immune system, which I think is perfect. So some people put them in earrings, they put them in necklaces, or they carry them, they meditate with them. I'll meditate with them, just depending on what my intention is for meditation. And so a clear crystal, this one is actually in 2 pieces. What's funny is, before I knew that sometimes crystals will break up, I was like, that, like I was going to throw the crystal away. And then I was just led to a book. If you don't know me, you're going to get to know that one thing I love is books. I'm always going to recommend a book. Books are very much a part of my life. But I was led to a book, and it explained that sometimes crystals just break apart. That's just what they do. They are energized beings, and so they have a purpose sometimes when they're broken apart. So this smaller piece I'll carry with me, like in a pocket or something, when my intention is for healing, and this larger piece I'll hold in my hand when meditating, or I throw in the bathtub with me, just when I'm doing a bath. So I've got that. I have the rose quartz. If you know about the rose quartz, this is the love crystal. I don't know if you all can see the pink tone, the pink hint to it. Can you all see that? This has many healing properties too, but my favorite healing properties related to the rose quartz, most people use it to attract love, like into their life, which is a great purpose for it. But one of my favorite things about the rose quartz crystal is, I personally believe before you can attract love, a pure, honest, unconditional love into your life, you have to have it for yourself first. And so this crystal is great for using for encouraging self-love and self-trust within yourself, because how can you love another? How can you trust another without doing that for yourself first? So I have this here. So this is for y'all. I also have a black obsidian. Because this series, this Let Me Be in Your Ear series, is about, at the foundation of it, the purpose is to not only remind you of who you are, which I am going to get into, but the foundation of it is emotional healing, because for a lot of us, we have so many emotional blockages that are stopping us from remembering who we are, from fulfilling our purpose. The black obsidian helps to shield against physical and emotional negativity. You said you just had this conversation. Alignment, girl. That's why I said I only want people to join this who are aligned with the messages here. So I have a black obsidian because I want it I want its energies to help us on this journey of emotional healing. Then I have citrine. You see, it's got like a little orangey amber, like glow to it. This is known as the merchant's crystal, but outside of that, it releases negative traits like fear. So when I was talking about emotional blockages, fear is one of the like biggest umbrellas when it comes to emotional blockages. And so this little crystal here helps you to release fear. And then, you know, when you release something, you always want to be filled up then with something good. So when you release something negative, you always want to be filled up with something positive. And so what I like about this crystal, it helps you to release fear. And I typically will just leave this crystal on my abundance altar, but you'll release fear related to whatever in your life. And then it transmutes that fear into like optimism and courage. Those things to help you truly fulfill your purpose and to be your most authentic self. So that's what this one here is for. And then the last one I have here is everybody's favorite. It is a favorite amongst people. I know you all know what this is. This is an amethyst. An amethyst has so many healing properties, so many benefits, but the most powerful of them is protection, healing, and purifying. And so with this one, I'll just leave this one out, just in the air, or when I'm cleansing my home, I'll use the amethyst. I'll throw it in my bathtub or whatnot. But we have that here with us today too. So I think I've set the tone. Oh, one last thing. So scents. I also use scents. So for those who are coming in, I am just kind of setting the tone. You said what? Somebody said what was before amethyst? Citrine. Citrine crystal. It's like the orangey amber one is known as like the merchant's crystal. So I use scents. This is a scent. It's an essential oil that includes neroli, frankincense, rosemary, lemon verbena, and then it also just has a little crystal at the bottom of it, carnelian. But like I was explaining earlier, you're welcome. Like I was explaining earlier, I use anything to just continue to raise my vibrations throughout the day. I mean, I know this is the spiritual stuff, but I use this like at work, like during, you know, while I'm working, and because I'm not gonna keep if I do cleanse them during the full moon. So I'll set them out on my desk, where my desk is positioned. Oh my God, it's an absolutely beautiful view of the soul. I'll just sit them out and the moonlight can cleanse them. But if you don't have access to, if you live in a place, I mean, I live in Chicago, so sometimes I have light pollution. If you don't have access to the moonlight like that, or you don't have a window that has direct moonlight, you can cleanse your crystals under running water. If you live out in a rural area and you're near like a river, you can cleanse your crystals in a river, in any like a running water. So I wouldn't say like a lake or a man-made lake or anything, but you can, right in the bathtub, running water, you can hold your crystals, or under the sink, hold your crystals. But the most important thing with the crystal, outside of cleansing it, especially when you, yes, it was absolutely beautiful last night. Like, I was so sleepy. For those of you that don't know, I'm pregnant, and so sometimes I'm going to bed at like 8:45. But I was so sleepy, but I just really wanted to enjoy that moon. It was absolutely beautiful. The way that the clouds, it was perfect. It was perfect. But so I also include scents in my just spiritual practice, daily practice, just to help, like I was saying, to keep my vibrations high, to keep me just absolutely connected, to keep that crown chakra open and connected to my highest self, higher source, God, spirit, whatever you choose to name it. I can tell you one thing right now. I'm going to touch on that a little bit. That's not what I'm supposed to be talking about today, but I'm going to touch on that a little bit because I'm just being led to. I do not serve a God that small, that would be offended by being, if I choose to use universe or God or highest self or spirit or source, those are words, and we know that the English language has, the language period has gone through its own transformation throughout time. But God, source, universe, whatever you want to call it, has always been here. Always been here. And so often you will see me, if you tune in, you will hear me use all of those different terms. Because like I said, I do not serve a God that is so like man that this God would be offended by me using the term universe or spirit or source. For those people who are there, I get it. I get it. I'm just telling you about me. And if you are, just in case, because what I'm doing here with Let Me Bend Your Ear is not going to be for everybody. Okay. So, and even for those who it is for, you may not even align with everything that I share. And that's another message, that what I do share with you, I only want you to pick up what will help you through your emotional healing journey, and leave everything else on the table. Leave it on the floor, whatever. I only want you to take from me what you are aligned to receive. I don't want you to force anything into your life, into your journey. But I am going to share my own journey. I'm going to share mine. I'm going to share what I'm aligned with. But, just like those I look to for spiritual guidance, I don't always receive everything that they've encountered on their spiritual or healing journey. And so yes, I did want to get that little part out. So if it offends you to hear me refer to God as source or universe or spirit, then you probably just need to log out now. Move on from this live. This ain't the live for you. I ain't the person, for you, because those are my beliefs. And so we've set the tone. I've shared with you all of the different things that I use. I got my tea here. Let me take a sip. I think I saw a message not too long ago. Let me see. Oh, here we go. Oh, Yolani said, you are having all the conversations I've just had. Alignment, girl. That's what I truly believe. Alignment. So I mentioned earlier that I decided to do this series because I was heeding a call. This series that I'm calling Let Me Bend Your Ear. This series that I don't even know what it will fully become. But I decided to heed this call to do this, to share my personal experiences with you, is because as I've been going on my spiritual evolution, and in my spiritual growth journey, I just literally kept not only hearing and receiving the message that it's time now. It's time now. It's time to share this. I can't operate in fear anymore, because honestly, a lot of the things that I experience, or the some of the practices I do, some of the things that I believe is, still pretty taboo in the communities I'm in. It's not, but it's, I know for the increase of higher consciousness for more and more people, some of the things that I believe and practice may still be considered taboo. And so the message I was receiving just in readings, during meditation, and the books I've been reading lately that have been coming to me, literally, I would see the exact words, "It's time now. It's time now." And so I decided to heed that call. And part of it was because I do believe that if you have something that comes into your life and it's like, you're supposed to do this now, and you don't heed the call, I do believe that you can be passed over. That God, source, universe will be like, "Oh, okay, you don't want to listen. You ain't the only one who could do this. Next." And me, as someone who wants to fulfill my purpose, and I know that doing this is completely aligned with fulfilling my purpose, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. I just got to get over my fears and just do this, because this is what I'm being called to do. I know it's connected to something higher. And I have said, how can I serve? How can I serve people? All of our purposes is connected to serving others. And so I'm like, in what way can I serve? And then this was it. This is what I was given. This is what was put on my plate. Something else may be put on your plate, but this is what was put on mine. And so I didn't want to be passed over. What is Let Me Bend Your Ear? It is, like I said, it is my service to you. I feel like in this day and age, so much of what we consume pulls from you, just like takes and takes and takes, especially because social media is such a big part of our lives. For a lot of people, I don't watch the news, but for a lot of people, the news is a big part of their lives. Different media like TV shows and music. And I feel like so much of it just pulls from you. I want it to be a small portion of the things that actually pour into you. And so, that's what I hope that Let Me Be in Your Ear becomes, something that pours into you. Another thing that Let Me Be in Your Ear is me sharing my experiences with God, higher source, spirit that's beyond religion. It is my way of saying that there's nothing wrong with religion. I understand the purpose of religion, but there is something beyond it. I understand the historical importance of religion, why religion was put into place. But my purpose, I no longer practice a religion personally, but my purpose is to share what's beyond religion, that there is something beyond religion to help you connect higher. And I know a lot of people have felt very disconnected from religion lately. I believe that there is a spiritual buffet. So I just want to introduce you to that, or remind you of it, sharing ancient knowledge. And then, of course, always reminding you, like the title says, of who you are, you are, okay? So I do want to get into sharing the experience I went through about 2.5 years ago, of me being reminded of who I am. And who I am is who you are, and who, the next person is, and who the next person is. I was reading this book. Like I said, I love a good book. I was reading this book, Conversations with God, by Neale Donald Walsch. It's a 3-part series. It has 3 books in it, I should say. This is book 1, the blue book, Conversations with God. And typically, I would always share any book that I would read. When I finished reading this book, I was like, "Oh, I don't know if I should share this with the masses." This is a groundbreaking book, but is the book that helped me get on the spiritual journey that I'm on right now. In this book, so if you haven't heard of this book, in this book, Neale Donald Walsch, he is very upset with what's going on in his life. And he decides to start, he's very upset with God. Like, he is pissed off as a white man. You know how to get pissed off. He is upset, okay? So he starts writing a letter to God. And he's basically telling God, like, if you're supposed to be here, why is all of this crazy stuff going on in my life? Which is something that a lot of us could relate to. Like, like we have questioned God's existence or God's existence in our own lives, And so he began writing a letter, and this book is the conversation. He said that God began speaking back to him. And I mean, it covers so many topics that for a long time, a lot of people consider taboo. I think this book was written in like the early or late 90s. But anyway, it was one main question in this book that led me on the next level of my own spiritual journey. And the question was, how can I serve? And I remember thinking like, damn, I've never really, like, I've pondered the question. I'm a Pisces, so I've done a lot of pondering as it relates to the spiritual world. But I was just like, I have never truly asked, like, what is my purpose here? And like, how can I fulfill it? And how can I serve? So he asked the question, how can he serve? And I remember like just leaning back. I was in this chair. I was in a different apartment then. And I had a home office. I don't have one here. I had a home office, and I remember just leaning back, asking a question. It was still dark outside. It was like in the 5:00 a.m. hour. And I got up, I put the book down, because my next, I was reading, and then my next thing would be to meditate and then journal. And so I kind of pushed the chair back, went through the meditation, and had this experience where I felt like this golden light just completely fill my body. Like it moved me to boo-hoo crying. Like I honestly do not remember getting up out of my chair and finding myself in the middle of the floor of my home office, like just completely I felt like I opened my eyes and could not see anything but complete golden light. And it felt like the like how you would imagine. I honestly, I'm stumbling over my words, because even I've told this story, to select few people, and I always tell them I literally do not have the words to fully share like the experience that happened. But all I can say is that it truly felt like this completely unconditional like love. And I just remember I was boohoo crying, and the message that I received was along the lines of like revealing my purpose to me. And I remember opening my eyes, and I had like a full wall that was windows, kind of like this one. And I looked outside, and it was like all the colors, like it was a bunch of trees right outside of my window. And the trees were like the brightest green I had ever seen them. And like the sky was like the brightest blue I'd ever, seen the sky. be. And the message was just like, you first have to go through the process of remembering who you are, and then you're going to share it. And it was just a message, just a fully unconditional love. Those are the only words, and those words don't even begin to describe what it truly felt like. But that's the simple message that I just want to share with you today. That's the message for Let Me Bend Your Ear today, is that reminding you of who you are, is that you are a divine being. You are, every single last one of us that's here right now, you are a divine being. Now there's a second and third part to that, but we only focusing on this little part today, is that to remind you that that's who you are. When you remove your emotional blockages, you remove beliefs that no longer serve you, you remove the things that stunt your spiritual growth, you will see that you are a divine being. And I want to share with you what that means spiritually, and then what it means naturally. So spiritually, as a divine being, it means that we're infinite. Like we all, we have souls, and we came into this human experience to fulfill a purpose. And for all of us, the purpose is to evolve spiritually and emotionally. But each one of you will have your own different purpose that's that is fully just for your own, that fits your skills and your talents. But for every last one of us, the purpose is to evolve spiritually and emotionally. And that's the divine part of, that's the spiritual part of you being a divine being. The natural part, which I really love, is because I love the idea of merging science and spirituality, because I see so many parallels with them. I know society will have you believe that that's not so, but I always like to explain things in the spiritual way and in the natural way. And so I've shared with you how you're a divine being spiritually, and that you came here with the purpose. You are a soul who, chose to come to earth in human form to fulfill this purpose, to evolve spiritually and emotionally, and help others do the same. Naturally, the science that I've read lately shows that the belief has always been that we started as sperm, and there was like this great race to the egg. And the first one there, that was the one who, bloop, got into the egg, and that became you. Yes, me too. It makes me happy too. But science, some new research is starting to, it's been in journals. So that means that the research is being accepted by those researchers and their peers. Is showing that it's not the case. Is that you have the egg, and yes, it's a race, or a journey of the sperm to this egg. But typically what happens is that there are a few different sperm kind of like hanging out around the egg. And so it's not necessarily the first sperm that made it to the egg. The egg chooses the sperm that can come inside the egg. And I love that because, obviously because if we're all here, we were the first sperm. I love that theory too. But I really, really love the idea of that all of us were chosen. Like, I love that. I've always said I'm the chosen one, but all of us are the chosen one. You could have been in third or fourth place, really, as a sperm. But because you are here and alive and well and got all your senses about you, you were chosen to be here, which means that if you were chosen to be here from the very beginning, you have a purpose here. Because why then would you have been chosen? That's my thinking. And so I want you to, I decided I am going to always give homework. I want you to, every day while I do this, that's what I want you to ponder today, is especially for those of you, I'm in some of these Facebook groups, these spiritual Facebook groups, and, especially the ones that cater to women. And it's a lot of women in there who don't believe that they have a purpose, or life is, understandably so, because life will do that, beating them down. And I feel like that question, the question of, not just the question, I'll give you the questions in a minute, but just pondering the fact that if you can't really grasp onto the spiritual side of the thought that, I'm an infinite being who chose to come to earth, and I have a purpose, and I intentionally chose this life because I knew it would give me all the tools I needed to fulfill this purpose. If you can't hold on to that part, then start with the natural, because that's what we live in. That's the world we live in. Start with the natural. And the natural is that you were chosen from the very beginning. You were a sperm. Science has proven that. We started off in our dad's nutsacks and we were ejaculated into a vagina, and we took a race and we made it to an egg. And research is saying that outside of the theory of being the first one there, that you fought to get there. But no, you could have, like I said, you could have been 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th place, and then you were just chosen. You were chosen to grow into the human that will be born into this world. Start there, and then just think, okay, so if I was chosen, it has to be some reason. And I'm telling you that it is. And that is because you do have a purpose, and you have one to fulfill that is your highest obligation. And it's because you are a divine being who is worthy of fulfilling your purpose. So that's the first part of your homework. Second part is to ponder these 2 questions. You could journal. I journal. Who am I? And how can I serve? Those are the questions that led me deeper into my spiritual growth journey. Was just pondering the questions, setting the tone, like I said with you all when I share my crystals, my tea, my incense, scents, and everything. Take some time out for yourself. We talk about me time, but where's your spiritual me time? Take some time for yourself and really ask yourself these questions. Who am I, and how can I serve? Because I promise you, pondering those questions and listening to what comes to you, because our answers always come to us. Always. They always come to us. That's a given. The issue is whether you gonna listen or not. Because if you ain't listening, then that's on you. And so the answers will then they could come in a book, they could come in a message, they can come from a friend's text message, a call, they could come from I'm gonna save it. The messages can literally, they can come from a song, they can come from yourself. You may have like a random thought. You ever just have like a random thought and you're like, damn, where did that come from? And instead of ignoring it, follow that, because that could be the answer to your question, especially for those of you who feel like you don't know, or actually, I want you to get away from not knowing your purpose, because I just told you what your purpose is. I think people get caught up in that part, like of not knowing their purpose. Yes, you have to be ready to receive them, to receive the signs. But I think people get caught up in like, what's my purpose? I got to find my purpose. And I've been guilty of using that term too. Find your purpose. But I'm here to tell you, I know what your purpose is in life. Okay? You are meant to evolve spiritually and emotionally. That's your purpose in this life. It's how you fulfill your purpose. That's what you got to listen to. That's your work. Okay. I'm just telling you I'm going to share some of the ways that you can get to your work. I know how I'm supposed to do mine. But if you don't know, if that has been a concern of yours, move the find your purpose part out of the way, because that is your purpose. It is to evolve spiritually and emotionally. And you'll do that in your own way. Your task, it may be through your career. It may be through in how you raise your family. For some people, it may be in the things that you accomplish. It may be through a nonprofit. It may be through a conversation that you have with someone who may go on to do, global things. It's up to you to find out the exact way and be open to receiving that, and also open to course correcting, because it may not always stay the same exact way on the path to fulfilling your purpose. But I promise, if you ponder the fact that you are a divine being, ponder it spiritually, naturally, or both, and you answer those two questions, who am I and how can I serve, you're going to get your answer, and you're going to always be reminded of who the F you are. Okay. All right. So I want to thank you all for being here with me on this first Let Me Bend Your Ear. I do ask that you share this video with someone who you feel who may need to be reminded. And then you can join me tomorrow morning. I will be here every day at 7:30 a.m. Just sharing my spiritual experience in hopes that you can pick up something that we can learn from each other, that you can pick up something to take with you along your spiritual and emotional journey. And then you leave everything else that don't apply to you for somebody else. So thank you all again. I will be sure to save this video. I hope I was able to pour into you the purpose of this. So thanks for tuning in. Let me make sure that I save this thing, because live looks different right now. Let me see. Okay, I'm gonna X out of here, and I'm gonna really hope that this is what I'm gonna be given the option. You're welcome.